When I talked to the angels this morning, they said, keep them calm. It is a time where we're balancing between the fear and the love. And those of us who have been called to do higher work, evolved work, light workers, starseeds, whatever you want to label yourself, it is our time. We were made for this. We have been studying and we have been preparing for this exact time on the planet, for us to be able to have that battle internally to ourselves, the cross between our mind and our hearts, the fear and the love, who's going to win, right? And the battle is fierce, let me tell you. 1 minute I'm high as a kite, I'm totally blissed out, I'm in nirvana, everything's a cosmic joke, I'm having the best time internally and couldn't think of anything that could destroy it. And then a few hours later, I'm crying on the couch going, I hate my life. It's really psychotic right now. And if you're in the throes of it, I know that you are specifically in the middle of it because you are part of this awakening. You're part of this evolutionary change. And you came here exactly for this moment. What I'm seeing is this tipping point between the fear and the love. And we are transforming this whole planet from a fear-based, predominantly chaotic world where we have just fed into that lower frequencies, the guilt, the shame, the hate, the blame, the sadness. We have made those things our norm. And yet internally we know that they are not our norm. Our norm is love. Our norm is beauty and majesty and magic and harmony and ease and grace and so much joy. And yet we've been stuck in this paradigm of negativity, and we are at the tipping point of this transformation. We're going to flip into a positive polarity where everything is going to be so much more positive and the negative will be a lot more reduced. But in that transformation, in that tipping point, we need all of us, those who have volunteered, who have this incredible state of mission in their hearts and their souls, knowing that they are here to do something for humanity. Well, you're doing it right here, right now. This is your purpose. If you're watching this video, it is no coincidence. It is your time to hold the light. And it's a lot of light because there's a lot of dark. And that dark is having to dissipate. It's scrambling for survival. And we are holding that light. We're holding that frequency. We're holding that positive vibration, that gratitude, even in the midst of crazy town. I don't know what's going on in your life personally, but we can see it as a collective. We're going through some massive changes, and that is pushing on our feeling of whether everything's going to be all right or not. And yet I have this beautiful messages from the angels saying it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Those of us who have decided to honor the transition, the transformation in so many different ways, we may leave the body, we may stay in the body, we may transform the body. We're working towards our higher state. And I don't know about you, but there's been so much growth in the last few weeks, even month or so. And it has been pushing on my psyche of how I'm going to be in a state of peace and joy and gratitude, no matter what's happening externally to myself. right? That situation is a story, and that story can change in a second. It doesn't need to be who I am. I don't need to be identified with it. I can let the story be the story, and I don't have to focus on it. It's that addiction to catastrophizing that we've innately been programmed to think that that's normal, right? Like, if you drive on the freeway and there's an accident, your attention is pulled towards the accident. You're curious, and you're wondering what's going on, the drama, the chaos. It's habitual. It's part of our human experience, and it's natural for us to either want to offer our love and our support because we're all connected. And so if one is hurting, the other hurts. And that's just a really deep part of our human nature, is to want to help and want to serve others. But that addiction to looking at catastrophe and chaos is part of the way that the mind traps us in that spiral of negativity. So if something in your life is not the way that you want it to be, right? Your ego and your and your state of being is, no, it should be different. Then ask yourself, are you focusing on the negative polarity of that story, or are you transforming it in the moment? Are you looking at it with fresh eyes, with beautiful eyes, with gratitude? Are you looking at it with the knowing that it can transform in a second? We're all so familiar with instantaneous remissions from illnesses. So whatever your story is, it can instantaneously change. But you have to be in the state of love and positivity. You can't be in that fear-based frequency, because otherwise you're actually perpetuating that. And as we become more and more light, as we become more and more complex in our electromagnetic fields, that actually then speeds up our ability to manifest our reality. So when we put out a frequency from our heart, it creates an electromagnetic field, a Wi-Fi signal, and then when we think, that actually overlays onto the Wi-Fi electromagnetic field. So the electrical pulses from your brain creates the thoughts, maps with the magnetic field of your heart, and guess what? You're going to create that reality. And you can instantaneously be in a state of bliss and joy and ease by separating yourself from the chaos that your mind thinks that it needs to look at, right? The subconscious mind is 95% running our lives, and it's been programmed to focus in on the things that will not keep us safe, right? Like it's a danger, a fire alarm, and it's going off in our heads nonstop, saying there's a problem over here, there's a problem over here. And if you put your attention, the quantum physics study showed that, the experiment showed that if you are the observer of the thing, the field changes from the wave to a particle. And so we're in that state of practicing our ability to focus and hyper focus on the positive. And it's not a cognitive dissonance. It's not this don't feel your feelings. Feel them, acknowledge them, but don't add to them. Don't perpetuate them. Don't spiral. And if you do spiral, there's so many tools So many tools of higher vibrations, going into meditation, doing hypnotherapy, all those. I teach all of those things in my course, and it really helps people get in a state of that positive quantum field where we can quantum leap to a higher state of joy and ease and grace. And that's what our nervous systems are really focusing in on right now, is remembering the love, remembering the harmony that we have within ourselves. Because once we do that, we then actually create a vibratory state. No matter whether you're near somebody or not, you're going to create an electromagnetic field. There's this knowing scientific studies that they've done where they have a lot of meditators come together. If they hold a state of peace and joy, then the crime rate decreases. This is not a woo-woo, fantasy kind of ideology. It is a scientifically proven ability to change the field. And when we change the field, when we use the power of our intention, because that's your most magnificent tool, when you use the power of your intention to positively polarize the field by your choice, by your individual choice, then we can create an electromagnetic field of 100th monkey. I don't know whether you know the story, but 100th monkey is where there was this monkey. I'm going to totally mess that story up, but I'm just going to give you the gist of it. Basically, there was a monkey that decided to wash his potato. And so he washed his potato and his potato tasted nicer, right? So then another monkey watched him do that and was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to wash my potato too. And so of course they started washing their potatoes. Then a lot of the monkeys started doing that. And then there was a tipping point. There was a tipping point where there was what they call the 100th monkey. And that 100th monkey decided to do the same thing. And then all of a sudden, on the other islands, completely physically in a separation, it's not like they got on their cell phones and said, hey, we're doing this, right? Like they didn't have that capacity. But what happened is that those monkeys on the other islands started doing the same behavior. They started washing their potatoes too. And so what it shows is that we are all interconnected. Nassim Haramein actually created the mathematical equation showing that we are all connected to one another. We are telepathically communicate. Somebody said that if we didn't telepathically communicate with each other, we'd ram into each other on the freeways. So there is a communication between all of us. And once we remember that this is our collective choice, because the love is one. We're just going through the tail end of this story. It was written a long time ago. There is no time, there's no space. All of it's happening right here, right now. And so once we remember that it's happening all right here, right now, and that we can tap into any slice of the reality, we can then remember a state of calm. We can remember that we're all interconnected and we're all choosing more love. So by your contribution, by your individual choice, every time that your brain, your mind gets addicted to that chaos, to that drama, right? Like remembering that all the little things that you're doing on a daily basis, on a minute-to-minute basis, are you going to feed into that gossip conversation? Are you going to watch that, dramatic YouTube video or whatever you're being pulled to? Watch yourself. Become more and more very observant of where you are contributing your unique vibration, because that's where we then get to remember that we're at choice. And then when we get back into the calm of who we are, we contribute to the whole of calming down, remembering that no matter what situation, whether it's money, whether it's your health, whether it's a romance, all of those things are stories. And you can get into a complete spiral and tower down into how awful it could be. Or you could spin yourself out and say, that's just a story that's happening outside of me. It's a situation. It's not who I am. And getting back into the core of who you are, the peace that you are. All the time, there is a current of joy and ease and bliss and magic. And when we step into that, we contribute to the whole. And we become so much more closer to the end of the chaos, to the end of the craziness. And just when, like, the hero's journey, any kind of dramatic movie that you've watched recently, there's just the battle at the end. There's just this, nobody's ever gonna win, and then the hero's gonna die, and it's gonna be terrible, and we're on pins and needles, and our fight or flight response is like, oh my God, I've watched this whole movie, and he's gonna pass away, and then ta-da, right at the end, comes out swinging and knocks that villain out, says, nope, we won. We won. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Please like and share and subscribe. I can't wait to see you again and share with you some more insights from the angels. They are bringing us so much love. They are telling us to remember to choose love. Choose love. Choose love. I'm Johanna Gardner. I am an intuitive business coach. If you're interested in being helped with your soul's purpose, what you're here to do in the world, please link below. I'd love to connect with you. Sending you lots of love.